Is this the best okra you've ever had or what? Because we watched Season 9, Episode 5, The Junk Mail. So, Katie.
Hello.
How did you like The Junk Mail?
No, I didn't. I didn't like it at all.
Oh, this was a bad episode.
Yeah.
I mean, I remembered the incest. And,
Well, he went out with her. Like, he asked her out, expecting her to go screaming to his parents. He could have then just not picked up his phone when she called. He didn't have to
continue
to go out with her. Yeah.
I mean, George doesn't. I was kind of joking when I posed you that question, but George doesn't abandon a plan. There's one thing about George: stick-to-itiveness. Regardless of how bad the plan is going, or how bad people will tell him the plan will go.
There's just not really any good things to say about this episode.
I was worried about what we were going to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
At any rate, The Junk Mail was written by Spike Ferenstein. It was directed by...
I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt you there. Is this based on a real anecdote from Spike Ferenstein's life? Did he try and date his cousin to piss off his parents? Because it's always like that with him.
It was based on an anecdote from his real life. He was upset by receiving Pottery Barn catalogs in the mail.
Okay.
So Spike Ferenstein, he wrote episodes such as The Soup Nazi, The Andrea Doria, The Muffin Tops. I mean, I think even...
This one.
I think, if I remember correctly, we were even like, Muffin Tops was kind of like a meh episode. I would watch a million Muffin Tops over this.
Yeah.
It was directed by Andy Ackerman. It aired on October 30th, 1997. I guess they thought everybody would be out trick-or-treating and full of candy. Vulture.com ranked this as the 96th best episode, and it's only down from there. IMDb had it as 138, and Screen Crush had it at a crushing 174th.
Good. Yep. Yes.
Not much more to say.
Let's throw it back to last week when I asked you if you remembered this episode.
Kramer tries to stop the mail.
Well,
I think I nailed it.
I'll read the thing. Kramer asks to stop getting mail. Elaine unwittingly falls for a TV pitchman. An old friend gives Jerry a van. George's parents want to see him less. Now, once again, I have to say, Frank and Estelle are the highlight of this turd. And their storyline is funny. Even when I wrote it down, I'm like, George's parents want to see him less? That's hilarious. I can't wait. Everything else, I was already like, no.
Do you want to talk about the guest stars, or do you want to get into it?
Let's talk about, hold on. Let's talk about the guest stars.
So, a couple of new faces in this episode. We had Lori Taylor Williams, who played Risa. She was just kind of on episodes here and there. She was on a TV show called Drunks, Just Shoot Me, and NYPD Blue. Toby Huss, who played Jack, a.k.a. The Wiz. He was a voice on King of the Hill. He was in Halt and Catch Fire, and he was also in an episode of The Four Seasons.
The one we're watching right now?
Yes.
Oh. One we've seen already? Was he in spring, summer, or fall?
I don't know.
I don't recognize him. And we did just watch this show.
Yeah.
They must be in winter.
Dana Gould, who played Frankie Merman, he was in TV shows such as Mob City. Can't even read my own writing. Marin, and the movie Mystery Men.
Was he only in things that started with M?
He wasn't. And he was also more of a voice actor. So he was a voice on The Simpsons. He was a voice on Family Guy, and he's also a voice on the Clerks animated series. We also had an actor called Wilford Brimley.
Okay, that is him.
Yeah. played Postmaster General Henry Atkins. The real Postmaster General at the time was named Moranty Runyon, but he didn't look like Wilford Brimley.
Oh.
So Wilford Brimley was in My Fellow Americans, The Firm, and Cocoon.
Have you seen Cocoon?
I've seen Cocoon.
I've not seen Cocoon.
I think in Cocoon, Wilford Brimley is only like 53 years old. He was also in a movie from 1981 called The Absence of Malice, and a little bit of controversy online. Spike Ferenstein has never publicly said this, although there's a lot of supposition that the inspiration for Wilford Brimley's scene with Kramer is from Wilford Brimley's role in The Absence of Malice. But he was talking to lawyers in that case, and so it was like a little bit of a different thing, and it's not like word for word what he said, but...
Interesting.
Not really.
Well, I'm grasping at straws. So I mentioned very early on that I find it a red flag when a lot of friends are mentioned in Seinfeld. Whether we see them or not, when they talk about a lot of people from their past and they've got goofy names, I just feel like it's a recipe for a bad episode.
It's kind of like when in a movie there's just feeding you exposition.
Yeah. When they were talking about whatever his name was,
Frankie Merman,
and then the other friend that George made up.
Yeah.
I didn't follow that because they were like Frankie Merman and he's the Summer George, and I was like, I don't care. You haven't made me care about any of this yet.
So one thing that you were talking about all these storylines, like I was thinking about shoving these 4 storylines into 22 minutes. And I think there's something there with the George storyline that can be very funny. I think conceptually, there's something with like the Elaine storyline, but then you have to like cram this like Van fragile friend and Kramer male storyline. Yeah. And there's just not enough time to do anything or get anything done.
When, an episode that works ties the storylines together seamlessly. And you kind of don't see it coming, and then it happens and you're like, This, I was like, there is a van-sized plot point that I can see coming 15 minutes away.
You introduce a van in the first scene.
Yeah.
Someone must in it in the second.
I mean, those seats recline pretty comfy.
It's
Chekhov's van. I mean, I wrote down, Jerry's trying to sell this van. We were looking at cars. Mm-hmm. We were in the car buying milieu this weekend. And we also just watched The Simpsons where Homer's trying to buy a car and he goes to get that tiny Eastern European one and he says Boutonnet H. Mm-hmm. It's a very timely little...
It's all coincidence.
Yeah.
What do you think, like, they talk about it later in the episode, but I was just like, you got a new car for doing a gig at a car dealership? 1, why are car dealerships hiring stand-up comedians? 2, Jerry, who has appeared on The Tonight Show, doing a gig at a car dealership.
Because he thought he was getting a sub.
But also, like he says, like, you know, doing a half hour of, hey, who's from out of town? Like, that seems like a vast overpayment for doing a gig at a car dealership.
You're also... Yeah, I mean, I think you made your own point, though. He's been on The Tonight Show.
This car dealership must be doing okay.
Well, they weren't. They gave him a van.
True.
So...
I'm sure that van had options. I'm sure it wasn't a cheap van.
It was a good-looking van. It had curtains. It had a reclining leather back seat.
You could drive across America in that thing.
So, Kramer has had it with these jackbooted thugs.
Pottery Barn? This did remind me about how we receive twice yearly catalog from Restoration Hardware because the people that owned our house before us from 13 years ago bought something from Restoration Hardware, and it's just...
And it's not just one catalog. It's the main catalog. It's the outdoor catalog.
You could, like...
It's the children's catalog, and then there's a Christmas one, at Christmas time, but then there's another one in the spring that I'm forgetting now. It's like
And
lighting.
They're not thin.
Yeah.
Those are, you could stop a bullet with that thing.
And it's all, here's a beige piece of furniture. Here's another beige piece of furniture.
And it costs $4,000.
Yeah. So very quickly we set up all the stories. Kramer hates the mail. George says, I gotta call my parents. And Jerry's like, why don't you just call them from here? I gotta prep.
Mm-hmm.
I need anecdotes. I need a couple told you so's. And Elaine and Putty are at the cafe. And he says something sort of rude and leaves. And then she turns around to give a guy ketchup, and he has piercing green eyes, I guess.
So later on, Elaine describes this moment as a totally unreal fairy tale moment. And it was, excuse me, can you pass me your ketchup?
Yeah. This guy's not good looking. But is he not supposed to be? Elaine's just caught by recognition of his face?
I guess so. Like, they don't really establish like why he has this draw over Elaine and Jerry.
And Jerry.
Is it just like they kind of say like, oh, you're just remembering him from this old ad.
Yeah.
But it's like he's not like sexy or anything in this ad. He's like a weird Mel Lastman-y.
Yes. Also, he's called the Wiz, but he's dressed like a king.
This is true. What if he were dressed like a whiz, like a wizard?
You'd have a wizard hat.
Oh, okay, fair. I was thinking of whiz as in like whiz kid, like a smart guy.
I think at some point he says wizard. I think it's supposed to be wizard. Well, nobody beats the Wiz.
Apparently, they filmed an alternate ending where Jack buys the van off of Jerry and decorates it as the Wizmobile and takes Elaine on a date and introduces her as the Lady Wiz. What was the we're watching The Simpsons and Bart called Moe with a prank call and asked, the name was Ivana Tinkle.
Mm-hmm.
And
our kid didn't know
why it was funny. And she was like, what's a tinkle?
I laughed when Frank, they were telling George a lie about having to go somewhere. And we're going to a black tie function. And he goes, dressed like that? It's creative black tie. Move, woman.
He did very quickly. Just turn, move, woman. We're going to a catered fair.
Catered affair. They were playing Rummy Cube.
I couldn't tell if it was Rummy Cube or Guess Who.
It did look a little bit like Guess Who, but it had all the tiles.
All the tiles in the ground. They just get up and leave.
Yeah.
Like, I think one of the problems when plots or storylines or whatever fall apart are when people are acting illogically.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I really think George is acting illogically.
This is his dream. His dream has come true. And Jerry even says, isn't this what you wanted? Him
acting this way really bothers me.
Yeah.
Like, it's the line from Community where Abed says, like, nobody would ever do that.
Mm-hmm.
You're just like, you can't accept it because it is just so wrong.
I also did laugh when Jerry said, I don't want to meet the people in the market for a used van.
I do often think of the phrase interesting trades considered. It's a piece of movie memorabilia.
So I get rid of a lot of our junk on like a neighborhood trades website. Mm-hmm. Do you think I should start writing interesting trades considered?
No, because right now you just give it away for free and you just put it on our porch and somebody comes sometimes in the middle of the night. Do you remember our doorbell camera picked up that person at 4 a.m. with a headlamp on and picked up plastic sheeting that had been used to ship us a new mattress?
Yes.
Are we accessories to murder?
Wow, I hadn't
My
thought
fingerprints
of that.
are all over that plastic.
First of all, why did she come at 4 a.m.? Secondly, what does she need all that plastic sheeting for? Third, is she in the habit of picking up stuff in the middle of the night that she has a headlamp just for this purpose?
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew exactly what you meant. Also, I have a whole bunch of other plastic sheeting I need to get rid of. Maybe I should see if she'll come back.
Just put it on there and see what happens. We have more cameras now.
Nobody will take my rebar.
Multiple angles. I thought you got rid of the rebar.
It's still there.
I know, but you said somebody was going to come pick it up.
Well, they bailed.
Typical Typical.
When Elaine asks to use the phone at the diner, first of all, they have payphones. I don't know why the cashier said yes.
They're regulars.
Behind the cashier was like the candies and stuff. And I noticed Clorettes.
Oh, yeah.
And Certs. Do you remember Clorettes?
Yeah.
Still exists, not in North America.
No.
Did you know that chlorophyll is the ingredient in them that supposedly freshens your breath?
Yeah, didn't Excel gum used to have chlorophyll in it too?
I don't know. Well, this was proprietary.
Oh.
Some acticin or some like fake made up compound. And certs you haven't been able to get since 2018 because they contained partially hydrogenated cottonseed oil, which is now banned.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
I really like certs. That's a mom's purse kind of thing.
So one thing that I kind of had a problem with Elaine's storyline is your first real interaction with Jack.
Yeah.
Is like this scene that we're talking about here, where Elaine is like, I'll go see if he can handle the equipment or merchandise or whatever she says. And he walks in, dreamy eyes, and then says like, I'm going to be in the can. And so you're kind of like, oh, he's like super like enticing and has this like aura or whatever, but he's like crass and rude. But that was really the only thing that he did that was like that.
Yeah.
So why did they not follow through with it, or why did they abandon it so quickly? You don't have the answers to that.
I don't.
It's just annoying.
It's a bad story.
Yeah.
Going back to certs though, do you remember how they weren't crunchy like a mint? They kind of like smooshed when you chewed on them. Oh,
I was gonna say I thought that they like shattered.
No, they didn't shatter because, and now I'm realizing it's because of that cottonseed oil in them. They like compressed.
I don't usually think of candy containing hydrogenated oils.
Yeah. There was a legal case about certs because there's lower import tariffs on mints if they have like an actual proven agent for like freshening your breath or like cleaning or something. And they're like, this doesn't contain any of that. It's candy. And they're like, no, it's a mint. And it went to court and it got ruled as a mint.
Interesting.
Even though it doesn't have any mint or any
It doesn't have any mint?
No. It has copper in it.
What does it taste like though? What's the flavor? In my mind, I'm getting mint. Am I thinking of something else?
It's not made out of mint. It's like mint flavoring. But the green flecks were copper.
Oh.
Yeah.
You need copper though, don't you? It's one of the...
I think you need a very small amount of copper.
Yeah.
What a weird candy. Here's an oil-based copper candy. Freshens your breath.
It's ahead of its time.
This is timely. We could talk about the imminent Canada Post strike. The next imminent Canada Post strike.
Our bank keeps sending us emails about it.
That's the only way I know that there might be one.
Yeah, I kind of forgotten about it.
I love when Kramer's handing out the flyers and he says, the mail blows. Fax it to a friend. Who faxes?
I would say, Kramer is right. Justice for Kramer. How little do we use like mail for like letters and bills? Like all of that's electronic and like it's just
now
like,
it is.
Sure, yeah, but like he was right.
He was right, but I agree with him. I don't want.
You don't want mail?
I don't want mail. I was talking to myself in the shower about this. And I know...
Since this episode?
No. Recently. Because I know that the post office makes money by bringing you junk mail. And I don't think they can actually listen if you say a no junk mail. You put something like no junk mail, no flyers. They're supposed to give it to you anyway.
I think it's if it's like dressed to you, you have to take it. They have to deliver it. But like kids like just going around and like dropping flyers in your thing.
Well, that's not the post office. What about like the bulk barn flyer? That's ad mail that Bulk Barn paid to have delivered to our house.
Yeah. So the mailman would put it.
But what if I said no flyers? It's not addressed to me.
I don't know.
The one you're talking about, the ones that say resident or current occupant at blah, blah,
Mm.
blah. Those, like, they have to deliver. But they make money delivering flyers, but nobody wants flyers.
Mm.
So why doesn't the post office have a mail day the same way you have a garbage day? So mail carriers have to work a lot less, and you get the very few letters that you might actually get in the mail one day a week.
Do you remember when we first moved into this house, instead of having a mailbox, they just had a wicker trash canny looking basket
Yes.
in like the corner on the porch?
Yeah. Was that to discourage mail?
Maybe it was like, we're just going to throw this out anyways, so just put it in there.
Just put it right in the trash, please.
You know what flyer I like going through?
What?
The Canadian Tire flyer.
Really?
You just never know what's going to be in there.
Well, that's exactly what you get at Canadian Tire. You never know.
It's a smorgasbord of products. It's like,
I went there to buy super glue gel, and I walked out spending $50 on all kinds of crap.
you get a non-stick pan. You get
I bought 2
new
Fox 40
cat
whistles.
toys, Fox 40 whistles, an imitation hockey jersey,
Bottle scrubber,
some washer fluid,
birdhouse.
and a bag of chips.
Yep. All that and a bag of chips. That should be their slogan. Not Canada's store.
This episode of Close Talkers is brought to you by Canadian Tire. Canadian Tire, all that and a bag of chips.
Hey, do you remember that terrible movie about the Christmas letters and Santa's daughter who went to work at the post office to answer them all?
Oh, yeah. What was that called?
Christmas Mail.
Christmas Mail, yeah.
I had to look up what it was called. But wasn't that funded by the U.S. Postal Service?
I believe it was.
They really went into detail in the factory. You saw the sorting machines.
Yeah. It was like B-roll from how it's made.
It was mail propaganda.
Yeah. So Postmaster General Runyon, when he was in power, he made some very drastic changes, and he fired a whole bunch of management, and he was like, we have to focus on being profitable, but having good service and being accountable to customers.
Mm-hmm.
And he hired 20,000 mail carriers. The service was actually better. And he was a previous Ford executive, and he actually had the mail USPS go to Ford and learn how their processes work so that they could be more efficient.
Wow. What's the punchline?
There's no punchline.
He just fixed the mail service?
And then he
Isn't the U.S. Postal Service billions of dollars in debt to their pension plan?
Oh, now, yeah.
Yeah.
He left in 1998.
Okay. And then it went downhill.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you see that the Costanzas now have the EWR pamphlet on their fridge, and it's not on Jerry's fridge?
What's EWR?
It's a yellow pamphlet that's been on Jerry's fridge for 6 seasons. It's the Newark Airport.
Oh, yeah.
And it's been there every episode, and now it's in the Costanza's house on their fridge, not at Jerry's.
Well, flying in and out of New York City, it's really, really convenient to fly into Newark. So it's probably not uncommon that.
You know what? You're wrong. Newark keeps losing their radar.
Oh, yeah. Twice the past week or something? Yikes. Don't fly to Newark. Remember when we flew out of Newark? Man, that place was a shithole.
I'm sorry. No, that was LaGuardia. That was a shithole.
LaGuardia was a shithole? I
Yes.
thought Newark was a shithole.
No, it was LaGuardia.
They can both be shitholes, Katie.
I can't speak for Newark. LaGuardia is a shithole. There was one plug in the entire terminal.
In a really weird place. It was in a walkway between
the bathrooms.
It was weird.
Honestly, the only other thing I wrote about this episode is that Kramer's tan is getting out of hand.
One thing of note that I read was when Elaine decides to try to get back with Putty and he doesn't take her back, he says something to the effect of, what if we're out somewhere and you see the Maytag repairman?
And then he immediately laughs at his own joke.
So at this point, there had been 2 actors who had played the Maytag repairman, and both had previously appeared in Seinfeld episodes.
Oh, that's funny. I thought you were going to tell me Patrick Warburton played the Maytag repairman.
No. That would have been funny, though.
That's all I have.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter what I have.
It just gets so dumb that it's I got up and did other things.
George, we've had it with you. Now, if you'll excuse me,
No.
I'm going to go and make love to your mother.
They used that twice. And I don't...
3 times, I think.
I don't feel uncomfortable on George's behalf. That's how little this episode...
I don't think George feels uncomfortable.
At the end, he does. I have some corrections. So we were talking about blood donations, and I guessed that when you donate, it's 450 mils, and I was right. And that is just under 1 pint. And we were talking about blood banking and cord blood. So you can bank cord blood publicly or privately. If you bank it publicly, anyone can use it, and that's like, it's like a donation. It's like a nice thing that you can do. But you can't then say, I need it, because it just goes away and it's like anonymous and whatever. Privately, only your family can use it. And I don't know why, but children usually can't use their own cord blood.
Oh, weird.
So you wouldn't bank it in case something happened with your child. It would be like...
You?
If you had another child. So it's like a cord blood daisy chain.
So if you do that, and then that kid needs a kidney, and you have another kid to give that kidney to that, like, you could get a whole, like...
Yeah. And apparently most privately banked cord blood gets thrown away. So it's a big waste of money.
Oh.
And I thought George's girlfriend in that episode looked familiar. And I was like, who is this? What am I seeing in my head? And I went through, like, my mental Rolodex of 90s movies and, like, who does she look like? And I was like, was she in Clueless? Was she in She's All That? Like, what was it? And I thought she looked like Casey from Bring It On. But then I looked at their pictures side by side. Nothing alike. But I really want to watch Bring It On now.
Yeah, I remember going through her IMDb and there wasn't anything there. So I did spend a little bit of time and I figured out what, this is from 2 episodes ago, what monitor I had in university.
Oh, okay.
It was the LG Flattron 777N+,
Wow.
16-inch CRT flat screen monitor. I can show you a picture.
Please.
This website that I found it on, it has a used working one in good condition, power and cable adapter not included.
Then how do they know
going
it works?
For $900.
Jesus.
And this is what it looks like.
Wow. It looks like an old TV. Oh, it's got like those, the speakers.
The speakers on the side, so you could mount them on like the side halfway through, or you could take them off and put them beside. It had USB. It had a USB hub.
Wow.
That was so cool at the time. I think it was my first like USB hubby thing.
Is that why you bought the cat house for our cat that looks like an old TV? You just like things that look like TVs?
No, I just thought that was cool. I tried to find the Costco warehouse cat house, but they only sell in the States.
Anyway, next week we have the Merv Griffin show.
No, we watched Seinfeld on this show, Katie. I don't want to spoil the Merv Griffin show, so I will just say that basically George gets into a fight with the squirrels.
Okay.
Sorry. Squirrels.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye. Believe it or not, this is our podcast. Please subscribe at the end. If you subscribed, we would be happy. Please subscribe to us. Believe it or not, it's our podcast.
Is that a Seinfeld reference?